this Albion Online video is not something I want to make, but I need to make, and that is how to verify if information that you're reading about this game, be it a guide, a video, a post, a forum post, a Discord, conversation, is legit or not. And so we're gonna go through how to essentially trust but verify information, and we're just gonna pick some examples here. Let's get into it. Now, checking Reddit, we see why using non-max gear is efficient in fame farming for newbie players. Alright, so I can tell you right now that this post is either written by a bot, or written by AI, or written in a way to grab SEO and keywords. We'll talk about that in a minute, but essentially this is a big write-up that, at the end of the day, this big post here, how well it's formatted and bolded and everything, it's telling new players that they should fame farm by using a weapon that is not maxed out and gear that is maxed out, and it has a bunch of numbers and math on it that looks pretty legit, but I'm going to tell you it's not legit, and I'm going to show you how it's not legit. And then what's scary is that we have 20 comments in this thread, and not a single person has called this guy out. So that means, and I've checked these accounts, they're actual people, but the thing is, either they didn't read the post, they just saw the pretty formatting, and they just want to agree with it because it follows their agenda that they want to push. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's this account owner's alt accounts that are pushing it up. I have no idea. But what we're going to do is we're going to verify this information from this post and show you that you can't trust everything that you see that looks like this. You have to literally verify it. So let's get started here. Instead of reading the whole thing, the TLDR is, if you have a non-maxed weapon but maxed gear, and you fame farm 1 million fame, it will have 1 million fame applied to your weapon, which is what you want to level up. I'll agree with that part. You will then generate 200,000 fame credits, and when that gets put back into the weapon you're leveling, you end up with 1.4 million fame earned. Whereas if you use a maxed out weapon, and you fame farm 1 million fame, you get no fame applied to your equipment because it's maxed out, duh. And you would only generate 400,000 fame credits, which in turn would only be 800,000 fame to your weapon. So I'm going to blow this out of the water pretty easily here. Alright, so let me show you why those first two numbers are completely bogus. Alright, so first off, we're going to generate not 200,000 combat fame credits. We're going to generate 1.2 million. I'll show you that. And this one, I believe, will be 1.6 million. So we're going to do non-maxed weapon, but maxed gear first. And we're on the test server, so we can test this very easily. So I have my Fists of Avalon here. All right, we have them equipped. It is level 1, as you can see. Level 1 specialization. Mastery is 100, but the specialization ain't, okay? All right, so, and again, here at the top, we're going to type in this amount of, this amount of combat fame credits. So, fame credits before, let me get this typed in the screen, 168,544,448, alright, and then I'm going to put that on the screen for you. Okay, there we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to increase our fame by 1 million, so I have these fame tomes, and each of these fame tomes is worth 200,000 fame, and yes, I hit my mic, my bad. I do hand gestures when I talk, even though you can't see me. Alright, so, again, we have level 1 Fist of Avalon. This, again, just like it says on the Reddit post, we have non-maxed weapon, maxed gear, okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and eat the tomes real quick. It'll apply everything here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 200,000 times 5 is 1 million, alright? Now when we open our combat fame credits here, you're going to see that number jump up. So what we have to do now is we have to type in the new amount. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, trust but verify. Fame credits after is 169,744,448. All right, pretty cool stuff. That's 1.2 million. And just to prove it is, because there's always people that don't, I will show you on a freaking calculator. 169,744,448. All right, subtracted by our old amount, 168,544,448. 1.2 million combat fame credits. Now, this is the kicker. We get to put 1.2 million combat fame credits into this weapon. All right? So, let's go to Fist of Avalon. and we scroll down because, again, fame was directly applied to it. It put us to level 14. Those fame tomes made it from 1 to 14. So now what we're going to do is we're going to crank 1.2 million combat fame credits as close as we can into this, okay? So this is the combat fame credit cost. This is the amount of fame when converted. So that is 1.2, we went 2,860 combat fame credits over, okay? We're going to go over just a slight amount. This is going to put us at level 35. So that got us to level 35. Isn't that swell? So what we're going to do now that we know that's what our level is, level 35, cool. We're going to go and just max out the Destiny board once again. There we go. And now our Fists of Avalon are back to 120. We're going to reset that back. No, we're going to leave it at 120, and I'm going to show you why. Because the next test, let me get to the island, is going to be the same amount of fame, but with maxed everything, okay? Just like the spreadsheet says here. It says here, maxed weapon, maxed gear. And we already know that this number right here that I'm highlighting, this 200,000 credits, is wrong. It is wrong, wrong, wrong. So we know that this number will be wrong, but how wrong is it? I'm going to tell you right now the math is 1.6 million. I will now verify that for you. Again, we have the same 5 tomes. There we go. And before we do that, we have to get our new numbers, of course. So let me change our numbers. Fame credits before, okay? 168. And then we go 541, 588. Again, this number changed because I used the Destiny board, cheat obelisk, whatever. It's irrelevant. But that's our fame credits right now. So now, with this maxed out gear, everything's maxed out. We're going to eat the 5 tomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, now this number, you'll see it jump up here in a sec. And again, it's not like a fancy editing thing. That's just how the game calculates it. Fame credits after. This should be 1.6 million. 170... 141, 588. All right, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to type in these numbers, 170, 141, 588, subtracted by 168, 541, 588, 1.6 million combat fame credits. That's how much we can now spend on the punchy gloves, all right, the Fists of Avalon. So, how many levels can we get? So what we're going to do now is we're going to level the Fists of Avalon back down to 1, as in it's level 1, it has nothing. And now we're going to put 1.6 million combat fame credits into it. All right? So we're going to actually, you'll see right here, 1.625160 combat fame credits puts it at level 34. If I go below that, it's level 33. All right, so it is a difference of 1 level. So this is the video footage I'm reviewing. The first method, by, having the weapon non-maxed and getting 1 million fame, converts, into the fame credits, putting it back into the weapon, puts us at level 35. And you can see here at the end of the footage, this puts us only at level 34. So what is the difference? What is the difference between level 34 and 35? So let's level it to 34. There we go. All right, so level 34 to 35 is a difference of 77,700 combat fame credits, or 155,400 fame. Now, in this context, the only thing wrong with this post right now is these weird, wacky numbers. That's it. It says here, the bottom line, it is, right now, what he's saying, currently, we still have to verify this, that if you have the non-maxed weapon equipped with max gear, you technically get more fame. But not by these numbers. These numbers are just wrong. As we can tell, 1 million fame, non-max versus max is only 155,000 above. That's it. Okay? But we have more verification to do, and I'm going to talk about that right now. We're going to go ahead and verify this next thing. Now I'm using Fists of Avalon, which is not really the best fame farm weapon. Let's admit, okay? Anyone can admit Fists of Avalon kind of suck for fame farming. They're not the best. But, these are 8.4s, okay? That's okay. I think I have a 5.1 here. Let's just put on some 5.1 gear real quick. And let's go ahead and max these suckers back out. There we go. Now you can see that everything's back to 120 spec. So now what we're going to verify is how long does it take to kill a mob Alright. And let's just teleport to Martlock Portal for some reason. Why not? I don't know. And let's go kill some mobs real quick and see how long it takes. See how many hits it takes in like a Fame Farmy set versus not. And if the difference is massively significant, then that also affects how long it would take for you to acquire the 1 million fame. Alright? So what we're going to do now is we're just going to find some mobs. Here we go. And what kind of food do we have? We have a beef stew. That's pretty standard. We'll eat the beef stew, so everything is normal. So this is the kill speed at 120 spec. I'm just going to use the gloves and not any of my armor abilities. Alright, so let's... this is a renowned huntress. This is a champion enemy. And it should be pretty easy to kill. So E into W, into Q, auto attack, Q, right? So that's all my cooldowns, and then I'm just autoing her down. She's dead. Alright, pretty fast kill. Pretty fast kill, I'll admit. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to lower our spec just on this weapon and nothing else back down to 1. There we go. So now it's 1 spec, and we need to unequip and re-equip it so that the item power applies. And now we're using a level 1 Fist of Avalon. So now let's find the exact same mob. There she is. Same mob, same HP, same defense stats. And now we're going to do the same fight. So we're going to E into W, make sure all the hits, uppercut her. And now look at the health bar difference. Alright, I know you can't, you'd have to rewind the video. That's okay, I'm going to do it for you. Alright, so it took a little bit longer to kill, but how much longer? Alright, so this is quite the interesting shot of the mob there. But this is right after the second Q and a few auto attacks. That's her health bar. It is, each of these little squares is 20%, so we brought her down to 10% HP, or 283 remaining health. Now, on the second mob, this is with the 1 spec, alright, let's do the full combo. W, make sure all the hits, uppercut her, and now, so here's where her health is, and we're going to do more auto attacks. Look at the health bar difference. 4, 5, 6. Look how long it takes to get to the same amount, right? Alright, I know you can't, you'd have to rewind the video. Alright, I probably should have muted that, but that's how many more attacks it took to get to about the same health. I mean, she's at 240 instead of 280, you get the idea. So subtract 1 auto attack. Now, what is the time on that, alright? So let's see the time here. Right now, the video shows that we're at 336. So we're gonna alright, as soon as the first punch hits, alright, so that's the first landed hit at 326. And then she dies, or rather, after the combo, let's just go for the death kill here. Alright, so 326 to 338, so about 12 seconds, alright? That's without the spec, okay? Let's see. And then this one, hold on, we go outside, there we go. Again, we're verifying. So E is at 247. And then I'm just autoing her down. And then this is 255. So that would be 8 seconds instead of 12. So that is a 33% difference in kill speed. Alright? Hopefully you can kind of understand where this is coming from. 33% faster, alright, to get that 1 million fame is how I'm calculating this. Alright? So 33% faster to acquire 155,000 fame, alright? And that mob gave like 11,000, so think of it like this. 33% means that for every 3 mobs you kill with maximum spec, you get 1 for free, alright? And, yeah, that's about right. Whereas with no spec, you have to kill 4 mobs for every 3 that the other guy kills. So if you kill 100 mobs, it's like you killed 133 mobs with max spec. And if each of the mobs gives 11,000 fame, well, that's going to be 300,000 additional fame. You get the idea. I think you guys understand now why it's still better to fame farm with a maxed out weapon than it isn't. And this isn't even a fame farm weapon. This is a gank weapon, okay? When you actually use a weapon meant for fame farming, like a curse staff, the kill speed is exponentially higher, Whereas, if you use a weapon like Druidic Staff or the Nature Staffs or Holy Staff, the kill speed is negligible. Druidic Staff being one of the lowest scaling weapons in the game for kill speed, along with the Holy Staff, of course. So, in this regard, if you use a healing weapon, sure, use a low spec one to fame up with. That's fine. It won't make a difference. But if you want to kill faster, though, if you like, that's if you had no spec at all. Like, if you have a level 100 Druidic Staff and then you want a level Nature Staff, you're better off using the level 1 Nature Staff, sure. Whereas, if you have level 100 Curse Staff, and this is why I tell new players to go Curse Staff, then you would just use the level 100 Curse Staff to level your Nature Staff up. Does that make sense? You have to trust and verify these things, alright? I know that new players don't know the game well enough to do this. They just see a really long Reddit post and they just assume that it's in the best intentions, that it has their, you know, their best intentions in mind. But, bro, that post was written by AI. That is not something that a normal human wrote, okay? And I said I'd talk about it, so let's talk about it. Let's point out how and why this is written by AI. Normal humans, when posting on an Albion Online subreddit, don't fill their title with keywords like newbie players. They would say for new players, not newbie players. Also, in their opening sentence, because almost all AIs and YouTubers and content creators will flood their first paragraph or first few sentences with all the keywords that they want to hit for search results. So, this guy says fame farming. He says Albion Online. Bro, you don't need to point out that this is for Albion Online when you're on the Albion Online subreddit. That's not a human thing to do. That's a content creator thing to do, right? Because you want search engines to index your post and give you more Reddit updates, like a bot would, alright? Now, one thing this poster failed to do is do his SEO research. More people are not searching the phrase fame credits. They're searching the phrase combat fame credits. So he lost out on some Reddit updates on that. Now, the ending sentence of this poster says, books are for unmaxed nodes. Yes, we've proven that through trial and error. And he says, and so is fame farming. No, it's not. While mathematically, it's, what do we get at? When we're using the 1 million fame example, it was 155,000 total fame of a difference. Sure, but the kill speed is 66% slow. Yeah, 66% slower, I believe, or 33% slower, however you want to word that. It's 1/3 slower with no spec versus max spec for the non-fame farming weapon we used. It's even more of a discrepancy when you do it with Curse Staff or something that kills fast, you know? And then if you're a new player who doesn't know the game, you'll see things like this. Super good write-up. Thanks for sharing. No. This guy says, I'll buy some tomes. This guy says, the sad part about this is that they nerfed auto-respec. No, they didn't. I always read, they have not nerfed auto-respec. That is not a thing that has happened. There is no patch note in the past 2-4 years where auto-respec got nerfed. No, it didn't. Also, I've made an entirely different video on this subject that this guy says, where he says, you know, eating tomes is by far the best way to convert silver to fame. It only is whenever fame tomes drop below a certain price. And that price is too damn high right now. So no, it's not. It's actually more beneficial not only to use a satchel, but also auto-respec than to buy fame tomes at their current price on the Western server. And then we have like a third post in a row here. You forgot about the fact that yellow fame is way more valuable? What does this sentence mean? And again, this username is like word numbers. That's such a bot name. All right, now looking through his profile, I'm pretty sure this is a real person, but this sentence is maybe it's some sort of English second language confusion. And then you have posters that are clearly being sarcastic, but a new player wouldn't be able to detect that. So you have Le Chosen 1 year. Here it says, I will tell my new guild members to go fame farm with their malevolent, I can't say this word, malevolent locus instead of using fame credits because it's more efficient to do so. So new players can be like, oh yay, that's the weapon I'll level up, and they'll go over here to the arcane tree and they're like, oh, that sounds cool, and they'll get their malevolent locus, and then they'll level up with this. It's not the slowest weapon, but it's not the most fastest either. It's not the most fastest. I know grammar, right? But then you have another poster here. Now, this guy actually, the point is efficiency. He actually is speaking some truth. But this guy says, if you're fame farming, and again, this is an updated post. If you're fame farming, try to put on as much unmaxed gear as possible. All right? No, oh, yeah. Just go ahead and do that, bro. I'm being sarcastic here. Instead of having, I don't know, stuff like Mage Cowl and Stalker Jacket to deal damage. Like, mobs have, what, a couple thousand HP? I just did, 1/3 of their HP with 2 armor abilities. And these are AoE abilities, and then you combine it with your other AoE abilities, and you can kill things really, really quick. Yeah, totally don't do that, guys. No, instead, put on armor that, like, shields you instead, or makes you turn invisible, which you wouldn't use in a PvE environment. Yeah, you would use it in a full loot zone to avoid gankers, maybe. But you wouldn't use it if you're just fame farming, right? All the gear pieces have a time and place for everything. And for fame farming, you want stuff that deals damage and kills things quickly. And you would also prefer maybe cloth if you can afford it or want to use it, because cloth gives you overall more damage than leather, right? But you'd have to trust but verify using the test server to see if using a Stalker Jacket and a Mage Cowl gives you more damage and faster kill speed than using a cloth armor piece instead. And for some builds it does, and for others it does not. Next up, I'm going to teach you how to trust and or verify YouTubers, YouTube videos. It's like, you can make millions per hour fishing, or can you do Avalonian roads and kill people and farm mobs and do chests and make millions? And while there is some truth to these, there is also a lot of deception. I'm going to give you an example with no deception, but I'm going to teach you how to do your own research on these channels. And when you find trustworthy sources, you don't have to constantly verify if they're trustworthy. Whereas if you find one that's dishonest, you're going to have to verify every single time if their newest video is telling the truth or not. And most of them are dishonest. Most are, cherry-pick their footage. All right, there's a few that don't. Goldstein doesn't, and this technique doesn't work on his videos because his editing style or the way that he strings his videos together is completely random and makes no sense, whereas almost everyone else edits their videos in a linear fashion, whereas you can follow a timeline of events. And I'll explain that in a bit, but before we get into that, I just want to give you an analogy of Albion Online silver earning when it comes to full loot or risky content using in real life examples. So before we get into it, let's talk about why risk does not always equal reward, but it can equal big reward. Yes, that is true. I'm going to use it in real life example. Now, back in the day, I used to work at a grocery store, and I also used to live with my parents, which means I had spending money, a good amount. And as an adult, well, one thing adults like to do is gamble. This would be the equivalent of going to the red or black zone or Avalonian roads, what have you, okay? So let's say, back then I had friends, I guess not really, they were just more like associates, I guess. But, we're all like, let's go to the casino, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I, being frugal and also having a low-paying job, bring $200, okay? The people I go with, or one in particular, rather, he brings $2,000 because he has a fancy, rich, high-paying job. He's got a new truck. He's got, all the newest clothes. He lives in luxury. And the dude was just born into wealth and connections, and $2,000 was a very low amount for him. That's him being frugal, okay? But in regards, you have me and you have him in real life. I bring 200, he brings 2,000. Let's get on with it, okay? So, I usually, play penny slots or $1 poker tables and so on and so forth. And over the course of 8 hours, because I want to really make my dollar stretch so I can min-max my fun and enjoyment, I can play, and if I get on a winning streak or whatever, or if I don't, like if I lose $200, which was about 3 days of work for me or more. It really was like a whole week because of bills and stuff. But if I was to win, then it would take me all day, 8+ hours, and I would leave the casino with $500 to $800, which is pretty good. That's more than I would get paid at my wagey job, right? But what about the friend with 2,000? Now, the friend who had 2,000, he would go hard, insanely hard. He would play very expensive tables, poker, blackjack, even the high yield expensive slots where you push a button and you just threw away like $500 on a single bet. Yeah, he would do those with only 2,000, right? So think of it like this. I'm going out in a 4.1 set and he's going out in an 8.3 set or whatever, right? I don't know. Okay? So he goes hard at the casino. I mean big money, right? So in just 4 games, 4 hands, 4 plays, if he won, he would go from $2,000 to $8,000, right? And if he's making, $2,000 to $3,000 a week, then, it wasn't a big deal to him, especially, if he had a lot of money saved up, and the guy did. And then once he made that 8K in like 4 plays, he would simply quit and wait around for the rest of us to finish our gambling, which we would, want to sit there all day and play, the penny slots and so on and so forth. And so he would just sit there and wait for us to get done while he had free drinks and ate food and just kind of hung out and talked about work and stuff, right? And these are 2 completely different play styles. Whereas I'm doing, the poverty stuff, he's doing the big money bets. And so everyone in Albion Online especially, a lot of them, they push the big money bets. They push the go out in an expensive set and see what happens and you can win big. Go out in the black zone and you can win big, and yes, you can win big, but most of the time you don't. And if anyone knows anything about gambling, then you know that the house always wins, and if this guy was to go out 1,000,000 times to this casino, he would lose more money than he would gain. But because these rich guys, they like their social clout, they want to throw their money around to impress their friends and seem like a big shot, that's what they do, and that's what streamers and YouTubers, that's what they do. They are the big money guy, and they are trying to show how important and rich and wealthy and powerful they are. Not all of them, of course, not all of them, but most. Most are the big money guy doing it for clout, and if they lose, it's not a big deal because they just card swipe back in. They have that privilege to do so, whereas the normal riffraff simply cannot. And even though my position in Albion is that of a big money guy, I still play as if I have no money, all right? And just one more story. Like, I had this ex-girlfriend, and I hate to talk about, like, real-life, like, relationships and stuff, but I took her to the casino once, and I brought 200, she brought 500, and it's a long drive. It's a very long drive. This is back when I had a job, and I had a car and stuff. I don't have a car anymore or a job, and, but when I did, right, I took her to the casino, and she brought $500, and I brought 200, and this drive, it took all day to get there, right? Because I live in an area where gambling isn't allowed, so we had to, like, drive, all day long to get to this casino. And as soon as we arrive, I'm hungry as hell. I'm like, I don't even want to play. I just want to sit down and eat some fish and chips from a London pub, right? And so, I go and I get my food, and it's going to take them like 10 to 15 minutes to cook the food. And just from me waiting in line to get the food, which was only like a couple minutes, like, she's already crying her eyes out and wanting to leave and go home because that $500, she lost it in that amount of time. Like, it wasn't even 5 minutes from whenever she went to go play and I went to go stand in line and order us food. 5 minutes, and that $500 was gone. So, of course, me being blue-pilled at the time, as back in the day, I was a blue-pilled boyfriend. I, let her have some of my 200, and, she goes, and she wants some of it back, but then she loses that, and then she wants more money, and then, I have to leave early because I'm trying to fund her, her gambling to be a good boyfriend, which, red-pilled speak, that's not being a good boyfriend, right? That's just catering, to her demands, whatever. That girl wasn't very healthy for me anyway, but the point is that you can lose big, and you can lose big very fast and very abruptly. And I don't know why I brought this up, really. I don't know. Anyway, let's just go on Reddit and find the first YouTuber that's showing some way to make money, or a guide, or like a kill montage, or a Road of Avalon, whatever. Alright, so here we are on the Albion Reddit, and it's sorted by hot. I'm not going to sort by new, I don't care. Let's see, we already discussed this topic. Content, okay. Oh, here we go. Jin, that's a trustworthy guy. And so, can 100 road chests make me rich? Now, again, we're pretending to be a new player here, and a new player will watch this and maybe try to imitate it and get the same results as this guy, and they may or may not be able to do so. Let's dive into this video and find out. And just for the sake of copyright stuff, this is purely educational and therefore is fair use, and I know that a lot of these guys have editors that hate my guts. I'm not showing any gameplay footage. I will show a screen cap of the video, which I'm allowed to do, and yeah, anyway, let's get into it. So step number 1, to verify and actually investigate the video, you're going to scroll through it and find the first kill or death, preferably at the start of the video. And here we have a kill of a player named Confuzz. All right, and we're going to look that up now. So to do that, we're going to go to murderledger.com, which I guess it's now Albion Online 2D. Interesting, I guess they bought it out. Whatever. And then we're going to, I know Jin is Europe, so we're going to switch the region, and then we're going to type his name, Jin, and we're going to click on it. And this is going to show all his recent kills and deaths. And so what we now need to do is find Confuzz, which, that's my computer. Don't worry about that noise, that's me. And we're just going to scroll through until we can find this person's honest kill feed. Alright. So, still no 11 days and no results, and the video is 2 hours old. Okay, that's quite a backlog, but whatever. That's fine. All right, scroll some more, and there we go. We found him. So Confuzz, he was a Trinity Spear guy. The build matches what Jin was using in the video. So we know that this video was filmed 11 days ago on the 15th of March at 8:45 in the morning. Now, the next thing that we need to do is find out what time this kill happened in the game, and some creators cover their map and their game time, making this a little bit harder to do. So, looking at his video, and I'm not going to full screen it because, again, I don't want to have to contest with copyright, blah, blah, blah. Right here, 1400. So, we know what day this was filmed on, and now we know what time in UTC, 1400. So, because we know this is a stream highlight, that there is possibly a VOD of the stream. The next mission is to go to Twitch, or wherever this gentleman, he streams on Twitch. You would have to figure out where they stream, and then you need to pull up the entire stream VOD and see what's happening, because this is just stream highlights. It may or may not show deaths and losses, but I've audited plenty of YouTubers, and Jin is pretty legit. He shows his deaths, and yeah, there you go. So you can trust this dude, but a lot of them you can't. So I'm just going to show you just in case here. So in this case, I'm just going to type Twitch Jin Albion. That should probably, yeah, there we go. We got his channel. Also, I'm on a private browsing session, so no cookies or cache, and it's recommending Coco, Mogdon, and eQuartz. But anyway, you click this videos tab here, and then you find all videos, and we need to find the one that was 11 days ago. All right, we have this one right here. 8.4 item hunt and 100 whatever, 11 days ago. That should be it. And then you need to match the game time on the stream with the YouTube video. So we can see 1400 Zeratos Exosun. So we know this is the stream. Now we have confirmed that. And the rest pretty much explains itself. You just simply go through the video and then count all the silver that he earns. And what is that? Oh, that's a bandit event. Okay. I was like, no, don't play a copyrighted sound. So what you would do is you would watch the video as you normally would, and you would see how much is he earning, how much does he say he's earning. And then, you know, go through the kill log and see how many times he died, and see how many times that the particular YouTuber or streamer or whatever is omitting their actual deaths. Now, I'll tell you right now, in his video, I didn't watch the whole thing, I just thumbed through it, but essentially, he's showing his deaths. All right? And, you know, in this case, because it's about road chests, How often does he return to base to deposit this stuff from the chests, whereas when he dies with loot on it? You can see here he dies, 93k fame. He died here, 129k fame. So clearly he had some stuff on him when he died here. Maybe. I think that's what that means. That's what you would have to verify by watching the stream VOD. And when you compare the stream VOD to the video, you can see if someone is cherry-picking footage and making false claims about their earnings or what they did versus what they're actually getting. Another thing to also look out for, especially in these literal who 200 subscriber channels all about gathering high amounts, is their movement. A lot of people don't realize that radar hackers can not show their radar on their actual YouTube recording because they might have it on a second monitor, or their recording software simply will not show the radar overlay. All right, and the way you can tell that someone is radar hacking is based on very unusual movement. All right, now let's pretend this map here is a mist road of Avalon, whatever, who cares, right? And let's say that my goal is to go right up here into this corner. All right, but as I travel north, suddenly, for no inexplicable reason at all, I just veer all the way to the left here, which is not the path I was taking. And oh, a hidden treasure! Oh wow, how convenient! Or oh wow, a giant gathering 8.1 or 7.3 node or something, just randomly out of my way, even though I was riding up here to gather the high yield node. All right, and yeah, and then as they go up, they don't even go up. Like let's say the node is right here, so they just sit here. But also at the same time, their game volume is very, very low. It's not master volume all the way up, and it's not, you know, with sound effects all the way up either. Because if it is, they're listening for players. They're listening for the dismount sounds and so on and so forth. Because you can hear people outside of your screen radius. Outside of nameplate render distance, you can hear players. But no, they sit here with their volume turned off, and they sit here and they wait for like 30 seconds. And then instead, they go all the way over here, and they don't go up here. They go all the way over here, even though they never saw a nameplate and they never heard a player. They go all the way over here, and then they do whatever, you know, gathering, fishing, whatever. And then they'll go over here, back towards where they wanted to go, and then they'll suddenly turn around. Like they're going back to it, and then, oh, nope. Nope. And then they will do this weird, awkward oval dance around this area. And what they're doing is they're staying outside of nameplate range of other players. And then they'll come up here and they'll do their fishing or gathering or whatever it is they're trying to do. Right? Or suddenly, like in the middle of gathering, like say there's no one around. There's no noises. There's no mount, dismount sounds. And they're gathering a high yield like thing that's spawned or whatever, right? They'll suddenly mount up and ride a weird way, all the way around. And then by the time they get down here, you'll see the flicker of a nameplate in the corner. And it's like, how did they know to run? They just have a sixth sense to run away? And there is hundreds of gathering YouTube channels that have like 50 subs, 200 subs, 500 subs. And they all do this weird movement and weird out-of-placement movement. And it's because they're all cheating. They're all radar hacking. They don't have a sixth sense. They don't know the zone. They don't have they don't have some secret scout in Discord hollering in voice, you know, at them. Oh, there's a guy approaching you. Move. No, it's literally them using hacks and showing their earnings. Because here's the thing too. These guys are RMTing the money. They're selling it. That's what that means. Real money trade. They are selling the silver they earn from gathering to the person that's buying it, and they're using the videos to show the person how they legitimately farmed the silver, because these gold selling sites, these RMT sites, some of them, the peer-to-peer ones, make you show proof of how you acquired it without hacking, cheating, stealing, or card swiping and then canceling your card, because, you know, that's a thing on these sites all the time. I remember back in like 2007 or 2008, I bought some World of Warcraft game time from a player. And I played for about a day, and then Blizzard was like, hey, your game time got canceled because the card that bought it disputed the charge. I'm like, huh, that sucks. So I'm out $15 or however much I paid, $10, I don't know, for my game time. And the guy, you know, keeps my money, but cancels his side of the money, so I don't get to play and he has my money. And so that's why these peer-to-peer, you know, trading sites, these RMT sites, force the seller to show proof of how they acquired it so that things like that don't happen. I know this is an overly long explanation for something you might or might not know. I think most people don't know this stuff. And that's why these videos, you absolutely can't trust them, okay? There's a few gathering channels that are kind of trustworthy and kind of sus, but the majority of them are radar hacking cheaters, and that's why they're earning so much damn silver. And again, you can verify this. You can even do it on the test server where there's no one to murder you, and there's no one to run from, and there's no one stealing nodes, and you have the whole map to yourself, and you still won't make as much as them, because they're just magically going to all of the freaking 8.1 and 8.2 nodes, you know, that are there, that they can just magically see with their hacks. And on the test server, you have maximum 100 gathering with Avalonian tools and tier 8 equipment. And you, like, if I can't make more than your video on the test server, then how in the hell, like, you're just getting lucky out of 50 different videos? You're just getting lucky every single time consistently? Yeah, sure, buddy. When you start to actually watch their movements, it's unnatural. There's, like, go on into the black zone and try to gather. You're going to have gankers up your asshole in 8 minutes. 8 minutes, you're going to be murdered. You're going to be attempted. People are going to attempt to murder you for your stuff. That is life. Now, obviously, with radar, you would see them coming and mount up magically before you even finish mining your node all the way and randomly run to another location with a bunch of hidden treasures and a bunch of glowing enchanted nodes. It's not a thing that normal players can actually do, and those earnings are not legit, and again, you have to verify these things, guys. Alright, next up, let's talk about trusting and verifying guilds. Now, a lot of people, especially on Reddit and Discord and forums, are going to tell you the best way to learn the game is to join a guild, and then they will teach you all the best ways to do everything. No, they won't. What guilds will actually do is gaslight you and groom you into doing what they need you to do most for them. That is what they do. They are not, even the ones that say we are beginner friendly or we are going to have, you know, a teaching program for new players to get them to learn the game. That is BS. They all of them, every single guild ever, will teach you what they want you to do so that you can serve them. That is how it works. I have yet to find a single one that does this any other way. And the thing is that anytime someone who is actually nice and tries to be a guild that would just teach new players how to, like, make money and fame up and level up and want nothing in return from them, they all get used and abused to the point where that's why guilds are so groom happy, I suppose. Let me give you an example, all right? Right now, where you're looking at one of my islands and the farmland, right? Back in the day, if you really comb through my old videos or if you're a long-time viewer, you'll know that I started a massive alliance, and everyone was welcome in the Discord. There was no questionnaire or gated anything, right? And we had like over 3,000. It was like 2,300 on the second day, and by the first week, we had over like 3,700 people total in the alliance. All right, and I would just openly give all of my islands, farmlands, laborers, buildings, etc. to players to use, and even buy the seeds for them to grow whatever they wanted, all right? And when I did that, all I asked in return is that they don't have to leave much, but you see this little present box? All they had to do was just leave a small gift, whatever they felt like they wanted to leave. And I knew that no one would leave me anything in these things, right? And so a month passes, a whole month of hundreds of my islands being used for free while I funded their crop growth and development. Just because I'm a nice guy, I just wanted to prove myself on this point. And all these islands had this little gift box for them to drop a gift, and they were all explicitly told, to leave a gift. It wasn't optional. It was, you have to put something in the box. Like that was the only instruction. That was the only trade. I wasn't renting the islands. They weren't paying for it. It was completely pro bono on me. With the only thing they had to follow was, if they want to keep access to the island and continue to grow crops, to level up whatever, all they have to do is leave a gift. And I waited 30 days. And no gifts on all 100 islands from, I don't know, it was like at least 30 or 40 people. It was like 40, it was like 40 people. All of them. All of them. Not a single one left a gift. And I was like, yep, that's what I expected. I just knew that would happen. And I didn't really care. I just thought it was a fun little social experiment, And, I also had other things. I had chests on islands that they could access to borrow leveling gear, and when they were done, they were to put the gear back in the chest so someone else could use it, and so on. Like, we have, like, some 5.3 stuff here, right? Now, this obviously wasn't a chest, again, it was all set up for them to use. But no, I would fill it full of gear on all different tiers and enchantment levels, depending on whatever it is they, whatever progression they were at. And you know what happened? 100% stolen. All of it. All of it got ratted and stolen. And no one ever put anything back in the boxes. Once it came out of the box, it never went back in. And here's the thing. I knew that was going to happen. I just wanted to prove to myself that it would happen. And, all I feel is a slight disappointment. And again, this was years ago, right? And so my ulterior motive for the guild... Well, helping new players would be cool and all, but it was, I want them to either restore my faith in humanity or condemn it forever. That was the price that I paid, giving my silver and time and investment into helping new players, was to confirm or deny the state of Albion's player base and the state of humanity in itself. And I think it was a worthy trade, right? They got some free pixel loots, and I proved a point to myself that I already knew was going to happen. Now, I'm going to share the ways that guilds will actually deceive you and use you for, well, in my case, it was for psychological validation reasons, right? But in 99% of the cases, it's for pixelated greed. Guilds they want more silver, they want more items, they want more manpower. They want power and money and fame. And, they don't want connections or funny memories. They just want to increase the virtual number on their virtual character that won't matter in most likely 10 years, right? So let me explain some ways that guilds have used me or people that I know. Alright, so let's talk the very first day that I joined a pretty big and powerful guild. And so the instructions were, you need to bring sets of gear out into the Black Zone hideout, so that when wartime or call to arms happens, that you can pull the gear out and be ready on a moment's notice. And I'm like, okay, sure. And so, here's what happened. Now, I joined the Discord as Swole Benji, but I also had other accounts in the Discord with different voices, and I could multi-box them through what's called sandboxing, okay? So I could use a sandbox program to run multiple Discord clients, meaning I could listen to a voice chat channel without Swole Benji being in that voice chat channel, okay? So here's what I did. I would just have my other accounts in voice chats listening to what people are talking about, seeing if they're talking about me behind my back. Oh, and they did. Oh, boy, did they ever. But I had to pretend during my stay in these guilds that I was oblivious to it. And so, it's my first day. It's my first day. Oh, man, I'm so excited. I was ordered to transport 5 million silver worth of gear to the Black Zone hideout. And so, that is what I did. I followed orders like a good little CTA slave, okay? And wouldn't you know, I'm my other account in the voice chat that's been there for a little bit now. It's made some friends, whatever. Well, there's a bunch of dudes who are using their alt characters who aren't in the guild, and they're gonna set up a little ambush for anyone transporting gear, because it's gear transport day, You know, it's whatever, I forget what day it was. But essentially, they were going to profit off of their own brothers, their own guildies. And none of these guys were officers. None of these guys, you know, were in charge of the guild leader or anything. But they were pretty cozy with them. I would consider them inner circle. But not like they weren't like deputized, or they didn't have like Discord power. Right? So they're on their alts, and they're in the voice chat coordinating these ganks, and so, of course, you know, I'm transporting my goods, and they do gank me, of course, and they were radar hacking, by the way. I listened to that, too, which they were always afraid to talk about around me, because they're like, oh, well, he's not with SBI, but he's not pro-hacks either. Yeah, buddy, I listened to all of that. Anyway, so day 1, my own guild ganks me for 5 million in loot, which I contest to the officers, and they... You know, because of my YouTuber status, they happily oblige and try to make up for it, or at least they promise to. They never did. You know, they just kind of, they didn't deny me to my face or anything, but they denied me behind my back. Not that they really owed that to me anyway, but it's still kind of, it's the first freaking day, and there's already people out trying to make money from what's supposed to be their best friends and comrades in arms. Isn't that just weird? But yeah, that's guilds for you. That's day 1. All right, now we're on day 3. Day 3 of the guild. It's time to go to fight. It's time to go to a war. It's time to do battle. Oh boy, this is what all the guilds want to do. The ZVZ, the big ZVZ, where you go and you smash your army into someone else's and you kill them and you take their loot, except it's only one designated guy that gets to take all the loot because he's using third-party programs to log all the loot so that nothing gets stolen, but oops, it got stolen. And, you know, things go unaccounted for, and they just kind of overlook it. Unless it's you, of course. So you're not allowed to loot anything. But, you know, I'm already rich and wealthy. I don't need to loot stuff. I'm not here to loot stuff. That's not my goal. It was just to try to see if guilds were worth it. So, it's day 3. We do fights. I die. I lose 8 million in re-gears. And I managed to get 2 million of that back. So, I'm at a 6 million loss. This took 3 hours of my time to lose 6 million silver. But at the same time, I'm in a massive, like, top 10 guild here, and, like, I don't feel like I have, like, a social impact, right? I'm in there, I'm chatting it up, whatever, but I'm like, what role do you want me to play? What should I do? And I'm just being ignored. Just ignored. So I just went in my own whatever set, and people bitch about it, of course, because, oh, what is this set? What's going on with this set? Well, it's the same set as this officer of the guild, and no, it wasn't a tank or a heal set. It was, you know, just a general DPS brawler set. I literally just copied the exact same items as an officer, and people were complaining about it. What the hell? There's no winning with these people, right? That's day 3 of the guild, right? All right, it's day 5, and I helped some guildies not only defend, but secure a mammoth, you know, one of those aspect mammoths in the open world where they all know the timers. We fight some other guild over it. I killed the majority of them because I'm using very expensive gear, and the guild I was in, it's not my guild, but the guild I was in, manages to secure victory thanks to my help. If I was not there, they would not have won that fight. But they get the mammoth, and it has babies. And those babies had babies, and you know what I got out of it? I got absolutely nothing. I didn't get thanks, I didn't get kudos, I didn't get any share of the profits, but you know who got a share of the profits? The inner circle, the guild leaders, the officers. Oh man, they made hundreds of millions off of my back that day, right? And was I thanked? Was I given kudos? Was I acknowledged for my heroism and kills and performance? No, just Yellow Zone Warrior, Blue Zone Warrior, YouTube, right? And again, I saw none of that silver. Not even like a little freebie handout of silver. And it's not because I already have silver or because I'm already wealthy. It's because, you know, all the other riffraff that aren't part of the inner circle, who aren't like best friends with the guild leader or currently sleeping with them, you know, like the girl gamers in the guilds. Yeah, if you're not in that inner circle, you ain't getting Jack from those guilds, okay? Which is funny because the guild leader's name was Jack. All right, it's day 9, and one of the big CTAs goes horribly wrong, and everyone's dying, and we lose a fight or a castle or something. The shot caller is absolutely, and let me explain this shot caller, okay? I don't even know if he still plays the game anymore, but this guy was hyper privileged, grew up in a nice, rich neighborhood, grew up in a gated community, went to a very good school, got into a good college, has millions of real life dollars, got lucky with crypto and has crypto money, has family, parents in politics and in the medical field. So this person had it all. They had such an easy, laid back, simple, stress-free life where they didn't have to work or do anything, right? And you know how they act online? Well, we lost this fight, and he is screaming at the top of his lungs with all of his little might, all of his puny little energy that he has, of how bad we all are, how terrible everyone is, how we should all do bad things to ourselves, right? And how we're all stupid and we're all beneath him and he hates all of us and he hopes we all die. And this goes on for like an hour straight, and we're not supposed to leave the Discord server or talk back because he's the shot caller, he's the officer, he's the co-leader, he's the blah, right? And now me, look, man, I worked retail 13 years. People can scream at me and raise their voice and yap and cry and cringe, and I just think it's funny. And I'm just laughing the whole time. But there are people in the guild who aren't as socially stoic or strong or red-pilled as me, and they're literally crying and feeling terrible, and they're actually contemplating hurting themselves, and a bunch of other things, and they're stressed out, and they're not having fun, and it's a freaking pixel video game, and why the hell is this dude stressing so much about losing 20 to 30 million in silver or something? Like he was raging so hard like his life depended on it. But this guy, and as far as I know, this guild didn't RMT. You know, they were one of the few guilds that didn't do that, so it's not like they were actually losing anything in the real world over it. They wasted a few hours and lost in a video game. And and to me, it's like, if I scream that loud in my living situation, there would be police everywhere swarming my apartment. So this guy's definitely, and I did look him up. He had a huge little mansion of a house, man. That dude could scream at the top of his lungs and no one would care. I wish I could have that, but essentially, this guy who has a way better lot in life than me could not handle the fact that not only did he lose, or, you know, his shot calling made us lose, rather, because he wasn't very good at that either, and that's what he wanted to be good at. He wanted to be the best shot caller in Albion or something. Like, who cares? Right? But essentially, another thing, too, is that I was the top of the kill boards. Like, there's a website called albionbattles.com, and you can look up your battles and see who was the MVP, who got the most kills, who did the most damage, and blah, 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 blah. And it was me. And not only did it piss him off, which he's not raging, you know, he's like, if Swole effing Benji can get the most kills, and he's a blue zone warrior, then what the hell are y'all doing? Like, this dude was cutting loose on everybody for their terrible performance, right? And, like, I was playing Hellfire Hands, and I had no experience with Hellfire Hands until I joined this guild. Like, I had maybe a few days playing it, and I'm already topping the charts. Not beginner's luck, and no, it's not because I'm a challenger rank in League of Legends, at least in Season 2 I was. It's simply because I know how to push the buttons when they count down from 5 to 0. That's basically it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, push your E button and they're dead. Wow. Wow, very riveting gameplay. But, yeah, it's, you know, people think that joining these guilds is all sunshine and rainbows, but it's really just getting yelled at by nerds on the internet. And for what? Because they lost a video game pixel fight? So remember how I said I was topping the charts? It's day 10. People are looking at VODs, they're reviewing the footage. Why is the shot caller so pissed? Why did we lose? Why is Swole Benji #1 on the kill feed? Well, it turns out that I'm supposed to push my E button on 1 and not 0. And people are pissed because I'm stealing all the kills, and I have to sit in a room with the officers and get yelled at for not pushing my E button 1 second sooner, even though I was fully explained that I push it on 0 and not 1. But no, it's different now, it's push it on 1. oh, and you have to fight this way instead. You have to use these items, even though they already told me what items to use, but now they want to change it. It's like, there's no making these people happy. They're just angry all the time. And here's the thing, like, the way guilds tend to work is as a group thing. So if a bunch of people already hate me for being Swole Benji and for beating them on the kill feeds, they're going to whinge and complain endlessly in DMs until the officers bend the knee and pull me into a private conversation to try to make the haters happy, even though I'm doing everything I'm told and I'm outperforming them tenfold. It's just how it is. And then the haters too. Oh, Swole Benji's doing really well apparently on the kill feeds. Hey, we're doing Ava raids. Swole Benji can't come though because we don't like him. Oops. And I'm like, well, what the hell is this? Why am I even in the guild if I don't get to do any of the PvE stuff that I wanted to do so bad? And they're like, well, at least you're getting lots of kills in the wars. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But I would like to fame farm too. And like, oh, well, you have to do that on your own time. If the person in charge of the Ava raids doesn't want you in their Ava raids, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm like, yeah, you can have them include me. That's part of being in a guild, right? And not only was it Ava raids, it was like gank groups, gathering sessions, just movie nights. I'm not invited, and I wasn't being a dick to anyone. I wasn't being my Swole Benji self. I was being my retail wagey, all smiles and positivity self. I was being my, again, in real life persona, not my internet persona. But, you know, these guys, they watch the videos, they read the Reddit posts. They are the Reddit posts, by the way, spoiler alert. And, yeah, so, and again, this isn't a YouTuber problem. This is literally everyone I've ever known that joins guilds. But a lot of people are just very stupid, and a lot of people are lemmings, and a lot of people are knee-bending follower sheep. And they don't realize that this stuff is happening, or they just don't care, or they are part of the inner circle because their cousin's best friend's girlfriend's husband is in charge of the guild, and they just lucked into it. Or they just happen to be randomly in some cozy game Discord one day, and they just happen to make friends because someone liked their Minecraft base or something. I don't know, man. So the very next day after getting chewed out by all the officers and the shot caller and stuff for not pushing my E exactly on time, I decide to, you know what? I'm going to piss them off, all right? I'm going to do exactly what they told me to, and that's exactly what I did. So when they go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I push my E button on the 1 count, and not the 0 like everyone else was already doing, because I'm looking at my VODs. I want to improve too. I want to do even better, right? And I'm reviewing all the footage of not only me, but everyone else that's posting VODs to see what they're doing and what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, so on and so forth. That's how you improve. And so I push my E as told by the officers, and it goes off, and then everyone else pushes it on 0, and then you hear like things in the voice chat like, yo, who hellfired that? Yo, man, who's hellfired that beat, dude? Right? And stuff like that. Like, people, like, even the shot callers like, who the hell did that? They did it too early. Right? And I don't say anything because I don't want to, like, make a fuss in the middle of a fight. I'll wait until after the fight and, you know, defend my actions. And so, of course, I get pulled in again. And they're like, yo, man, what the hell are you doing? You casted it too early. I'm like, we had this conversation yesterday. You told me to cast it on 1, and I show them the VOD, and you can see right when they said 1, my E button lights up and casts the spell, just as told, and like, oh, we'll get back to you. And then they get frustrated, and then they just kind of leave me alone, right? So I'm kind of in the clear, right, from getting my ass chewed out once again. But, like, I want them to chew me out. I actually thrive on negativity. I feed off of it. And so, you know, I knew that doing what they said would make them unhappy. And that's why I did it, right? But, again, like, I enjoy the negativity, right? But I know most people don't. And that's why I'm trying to tell people that guilds are just not the answer. Unless you're in the inner circle and you already have friends from other games, this game just ain't it. And then you have these guilds, they, like, promise to re-gear you if you die. That's one of, like, the big, like, inviting forces. It's like, I want to join a guild with re-gears. And I'm like, hey, we're a guild with re-gears. If you die in our wars, we will give you the gear that you died with back. And then you join and you go through the due process and you go through the you know, all the crap, and you're technically one of their wages, right? And then you die and you get your re-gear. and your re-gear is missing the mount and the cape and the food and the potions. And you're like, this isn't the full re-gear. And like, yes, it is. We don't do those other things, though. Sorry. So it's like the fine print that they mislead you with. And you're like, okay. And then you just smile and continue on, and you realize that you're blowing about 2.4 million silver an hour. Every hour that you're in a CTA fight, you're losing 2.4 million silver from those capes and mounts. And you can't use a slow-ass, like, horse mount. No. You gotta use the damn expensive-ass wolves and stuff. You know, the expensive things, right? And the expensive capes and the expensive 8.2, 8.3 foods and potions. No, you can't go cheap in these top 10 guilds, man. Like if anything, the food, the mount, and the capes cost more than the damn armor and weapons. So, you know, that's how they get you. That's how they swindle you into being their little army man, right? All right, now, in this particular guild, there was one guy who was the biggest contributor in the entire guild to the guild's, like, ranking. Like, guilds are ranked based on what kind of activity you're doing. And this guy played 20 hours a day doing corrupted dungeons and on all the PvP stuff. And he had way more challenge point contribution than any other member, like 10 to 20 times over. The dude was literally carrying the guild ranking on his freaking back, right? And what did he do? Well, he said a gamer word. I'm not going to tell you what a gamer word means. It's a bad word that you shouldn't say, all right? But, you know, the guild does say, oh, freedom of speech. You can say this in Discord, just don't do it in game, yada, yada. So he says the word. Well, the guild leaders, officers, yeah, it was like the second in charge, the co-leader's wife. Well, she didn't like the gamer word. And she doesn't even play Albion, and she doesn't even participate in the guild. But this particular co-leader didn't use headphones, he used speakers, and he heard the word. And so she demanded action be taken. And of course, you know, because the guy's married, you know, if he wants to get some you-know-what, he's got to kind of bend the knee to his wife. And so he bans the guy, right? He kicks him out of the guild. And he begged the guy in DMs to, like, join on an alt and continue contributing. And of course the guy laughed in his face and went somewhere else. Of course he did, right? As you should. But, yeah, they kicked out their top guy. Their literal top guy, okay? Because it upset the co-leader's wife, who had nothing to do with the game or what was being said. It wasn't being said to her or towards her. It was just, I don't know, they're talking about, like, some random topic, and he dropped the word out, okay? But yeah, all that work for nothing. He wasted, like, months in that guild, and what did he have to show for it? Well, they have all those challenge points in that guild ranking, and he had nada, zilch, zero. So again, this particular guild, they had their re-gears where, you know, they give you the armor and weapons, but not the mount, cape, potion, food, etc., right? So, you know, as I'm in a guild, part of the whole point of me being in a guild is to be social with people. And I'm talking to one guy, and we get into the discussion about video game dance arcade machines. You know what Dance Dance Revolution is, I hope. But we start talking about it. And this guy claims that he was, you know, way up there in the tournaments. And I'm like, oh, hey, I can bond with this guy, and he's part of the inner circle. We can talk about the dance games, and that can be how we can strengthen our friendship bond or whatever, right? And so I start talking about how I used to also do dance game tournaments, and I show a picture of a trophy, a national trophy, first place, by the way. And he claims, like, Photoshop, and it's fake, or I'm not actually that good, or blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, I can show you video recordings of me playing, like, some of the harder songs at the time. Now, granted, I haven't played competitively in, like, 15 some odd years, right? It's been a very long time since I've done competitive dance gaming, but, you know, I show some older stuff, and he's like, oh, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, he just gets butthurt about it. Like I'm not trying to show him up or puff out my chest at him and anything. I'm just like, you know, I didn't even really care for doing scores. I like to play as a stamina player. I'd prefer to play stamina, which means I just play the really fast songs, as a means of a cardio workout. And he still didn't like that. He's just trying to style on me any way he could. The whole conversation was never about bonding to him. It was about trying to make me look inferior in some way. And the whole reason that he did this, that I found out later through my spy alt accounts, is that I am against drugs and drug use and drug smoking and drug paraphernalia. And this guy, well, his job in real life was a drug lord. He was a drug peddler. He's a drug salesman. You know, he grew the stuff. He sold the stuff in a state where you're not allowed to sell the stuff, and that was his business. And so, you know, just by default, he didn't like me. And that's fine, because I don't like people like him either, but I didn't know that about him, but he knew that about me that I knew, or whatever. You get the idea. And so there was no bonding with this guy. And guess what this guy was in charge of? Re-gears. That's right. He was the re-gear guy. And guess who stopped getting re-gears? Every time I'd put in a request for re-gears, he would mark me that I got my re-gear off the list. Obviously, it wasn't there when I went to go get it. I would be like, what's going on? And I'd bring it up with the guild leader, and he's like, yo, why you snitching, bro? And I'm like, because you didn't get my re-gear, bro. And then it would just go back and forth and back and forth. And you know, he was too stubborn to ever bend the knee and give me re-gears after that. And, you know, I just stopped fighting in the wars. And remember, I'm the top guy. I'm the top kill guy. Well, guess what happens when your top kill guy stops showing up for fights? You start losing more fights. Uh-oh. You know, and I'm like, I'm not getting the re-gears. And he's like, well, it shows in the, you know, I have it here that your re-gear was in this chest. And I'm like, well, I didn't loot it. And then, you know, the guild leader was like, yeah, that chest doesn't have any loot logs that Soul Benji looted it. And it didn't have any logs that the stuff that I lost was looted. And so then the guild master has to go out of his way to get some of my re-gears, but he doesn't, you know, he's got way too much going on. And at the same time, this guild leader was trying to get his in real life swag on with one of the girls in the server, who later, this is the funniest part, this girl at the time was just a literal who, but later she was hired by SBI to do things. Okay, so she was kind of a company corporate plant. And so many of these top 10 guilds have actual SBI employees in them, masquerading as regular players, and she was one of them. She's literally an SBI employee pretending to be one of the boys. And the guild leader, well, he really wanted her, and he spent all his time with her and kind of, you know, oh, no time for Soul Benji re-gears, you know, and then the guy that peddled drugs wasn't going to do it because you know, he wasn't getting punished for it or anything, right? And I'm just like, man, this guild is falling apart, bro. And the days go on. I'm not really participating. I'm not even doing Black Zone content. I sold like everything that I had. I'm just kind of chilling, doing my own thing back in the blue and yellow zones. I'm actually playing other games at that time. I'm playing Skull and Bones. Remember that game? But like, the guild leader does approach me. He's like, bro, like, I'm getting complaints, like, by 10 to 20 people every day about you. I'm like, what about it? And they're like, oh, well, like, back 3 years ago, you made this video, and it really upset this guy. Or, this guy has a video of you beating him up in the yellow zone while he's doing a mammoth transport from 2 years ago. I'm like, yeah, that was 2 years ago. I've been in this guild a month. So, obviously, it wasn't malicious. He's like, yeah, but he's still mad about it, you know, and he's a really good friend, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, the guild leader keeps making these excuses, and like all these people DMing him, trying to get me out of the guild and stuff because they really hate me, right? And you know, a lot of this hate is just from the YouTube envy, the billionaire envy, and the fact that I was, you know, beating them in the kill logs, and just small things. Like one guy hated me because he truly believed that anyone who wanted to could become a doctor. And I would debate him. I'd be like, no, not everyone gets the privilege to just become a doctor, even if they want to. You have to have certain privileges to be able to become a doctor. And we would debate back and forth. And apparently that debate, you know, shook him so much that he's like DMing the guild leader every day to get me out, right? And this guy's, you know, crypto millionaire doctor, apparently, right? And, you know, one of the healers of the guild, and he's like, well, you know, if Soul Benji's here, then I might just take a break from healing, and blah, blah, blah. And the guild's already in shambles and falling apart. And so the guild leader, you know, he can't make everyone happy. He doesn't want to kick me out either, because, he knows that I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm just being me. I'm just existing. So what does the guild leader do? He gets people into the guild that are like actively trying to dox me, kill me in real life, cancel culture me at the time and stuff. And like he knows that these people are doing these things. I even told like I have a DM from him in Discord like before I even joined. I was like, this is what's going to happen if I join your guild. Eventually these weasels are going to find their way into the guild and they're going to do this and try to take nasty screen caps and rile me up and cause drama and blah blah blah, right? And and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened like a month or two later after I joined, of course. And it just laugh. I just think it's funny. Like whatever, bro. I respect freedom of speech, right? They can say whatever they want about me, but you know, it's laughable, man. And at this point, I'm just chilling, seeing how long it takes until they get rid of me. So I'm like barely participating in the Discord, but when I do participate, there are inner circle, like, people that have Discord rights that just delete things that I say. And I'm not saying bad or mean things. I would just say random shit. Like I would post, like, a bag of onions that looked, kind of like a girl's, you know what. I know that sounds weird, but, like, a bag of onions with those nets, like the nets that hold a bag of onions and the way onions are shaped. You know, from, like, a thumbnail perspective, it might look like a little something else, right? And I would just post like this harmless things as a meme, and then they would delete, like, don't post that, you know, bad, right? Like, hit me on the nose with a newspaper or something, right? And I'm like, bro, it's a bag of onions. And like, no, we know, but they would just make some excuse, anything, like they'd be having a movie night, I'd jump in the server and be like, hey guys, or I wouldn't even talk, I would just join and be like, oh, Swole Binge is here. It's like, I didn't even say anything, and then they pause the movie and be like, what do you want? I'm like, I'm just watching the movie. What? I can't watch the movie with y'all? And they're like, no. But I'm in your guild? No, can't watch it with us, go. We don't want to watch it with you. I'm like, well, I've already seen it anyway. Yeah. And then I'd leave, and then my alt would be in there. Remember the alt spies? And then they would still have the movie pause, and for like 40 minutes they would rant about how much they hate me. And then the guild leader would come in like, guys, you didn't do anything wrong. Why do y'all hate him so much? And the guild leader was, you know, chill about it. And they're like, well, you gotta get rid of him, dude. Like, I can't stand this dude. Blah, 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 blah. And like, he doesn't even do anything. Like, he hasn't played with us for a while. He doesn't even talk to anybody. And it's like, yeah, but I just don't. It's like, it's the caste system, okay? A lot of these inner circle dorks and a lot of these people that were in these guilds had a lot of wealth and a lot of power and a lot of convenience in their life, okay? Very comfy life. Whereas I'm trailer trash. I grew up in hotels and trailer parks and went to ghetto schools and have a more ghetto outlook on life, and they can't stand that. And just being virtually in their presence bothered them to the core. But there was one particular, like, officer, you know, inner circle guy, and he was like the biggest simp ever for some streamer and just in general. Like, the dude was just like bending over and slurping every girl gamer's toes ever. And I was like, I'm just gonna red pill him a little bit, and he couldn't stand it. And then you know, with all the cancel culture people like coming at me and stuff, they kicked me out of the Discord, and they're like, you can't be in the Discord anymore, but you're still in the guild if you want. And I'm like, yeah, well, what's the point then? Right, so they weren't going to kick me because I was their little trophy YouTuber that they could show off. That, oh, Swole Benji's in our guild, bro, man. You should totally, like, join our guild because Swole Benji's in it. You like Swole Benji, right? We need more people to fight our wars. And it's like, I don't want them to be using my name to try to swindle new players into doing their fights and stuff as they use me. So I just left, right? And, like, you may be thinking, well, that's a you problem. I joined guilds, and I get along just fine, and everything's peachy. And I'm like, yeah. You also grew up in a house, and went to a nice school, and have a nice job, and have powerful parents, and have never worried about bills and food in your life. Congrats, man. Lucky you, I guess, right? And so, again, if you're a normie, join a guild. I don't care, right? Why are you watching my YouTube if you're a normie, right? But if you're not, and I hope that you're someone similar to me, then now you know why guilds are very misleading, and yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. This is like 3 things that you need to trust but verify. And I know I kind of went off ranting about the guild thing, and I've done that in a different video, but I wanted to. You have to verify these things, you know? It's like they say that they'll do reyears for you. Verify it, you know, before you commit, I suppose, all right? You see a YouTuber doing a crazy farm making lots of silver, trust but verify. And again, I've shown you how to do that. And then, of course, Reddit posts that claim that this is the best or they show numbers. Just get on the test server and verify it. That's all you got to do. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my rants. I know I kind of went off on the deep end there towards the end, but you get the idea. That's just how it is. And with that said, click the video on the right side of your screen, and if you do, then the next time the devs are considering nerfing or patching something that you really enjoy, they're going to not nerf the thing that you like to play. There you go. It doesn't apply to this game. It applies to any other games as well, so you'll be safe.